Hey, it's Mo. I am so glad you're here to just hang out and talk about makeup. It is one of my very favorite things in the world. I don't know why, it just is. And I like to talk about it with you. And I have not been blessed with sunshine again today. I only work with natural light. You know that. And the reason for that is that I'm trying to keep swatches and things to look as authentic as they should. So but I think we can make this lighting work. And I want to talk today about Clinique. This is a holiday release from them, and it is a Cheek Pop palette. They've done these on different holidays. They've done them like they do, I think there's one on the Clinique site right now that's like called Warm Up or something. I'm not sure if that's for holiday. But anyway, this is the only holiday release of the Cheek Pops that I am aware of, and it is a limited edition 3-pan palette, and I wanted to talk about it. There's a few things about it that are interesting to me, and also talk about the formula, talk about what color, are these colors existing, are they brand new, what's the deal? So this is the packaging, and it is $29.50 to purchase, and they say it is a $78 value. So I will tell you that there are 2 blushes and 1 highlighter. Clinique does not typically sell the Cheek Pop highlighters. Like, you can't find them on their website. They seem to only do them in limited release, particularly for the holidays. They had a really big highlighter over the summer, but that was kind of a separate thing. It wasn't the Cheek Pop little one. But anyway, so these are all based on what they've released in the past. These are all full-sized. So the blushes are each 3.5 grams and the highlighter is 3 grams. So they are full-size products. If you purchased these individually, if they were all available, they'd be $26 a piece. So I do think that the value, is not inflated. They say it's a $78 value for $29.50. That seems accurate to me based on what they generally sell their products for. So let's look at the packaging. It's pretty standard. This is what they do. It's usually a rectangular kind of plastic, a little bit thick package, and then they just change the color and kind of how they do the design. It's obviously kind of a maroon shade, and then these little flowers have kind of rough glitter on them. I suppose if you really pressed on it, you could get it to fall off, but it's not smooth, it's rough glitter, but only in those spots that are solid silver. I can live with that. It's not a big deal to me. When you open up the palette, there's a mirror, and then here are the 3 shades this year for holiday. The 2 blushes are in the permanent line. There's Pink Honey Pop, Black Honey Pop, and then the highlighter, as I said, they don't sell the highlighters individually. At least there aren't any right now in release. And this is Gold Celebration Pop. So you can't buy this individually. I am only aware of one other time that they released this particular shade, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But here's what you get. As I said, they're all full-size pans. These are the Cheek Pop formula. They are kind of a baked gelée texture or a baked texture, so it's one of those things that if you're going to use a really fluffy brush, it's not going to pick up very well. You typically need a stiffer brush to use this particular formula and then kind of buff it out on the cheeks. That's at least how I do it. So let's give you a good shot of the colors there. Of course, I'm going to swatch these, and we'll talk about application. This isn't a first impression. I've used all of this. In fact, let's just swatch them first. So we've got Pink Honey Pop. As I said, these are not limited edition blushes. You could go to the Clinique site or wherever right now and order these. This is Black Honey Pop, of course, classic black honey. Boy, that color has been around forever. And then Gold Celebration Pop is the highlighter. So here are the shades. Do some quick swatches. Pink Honey, Black Honey, Gold Celebration. Nothing too crazy, nothing overly bright. Definitely a difference in depth for the 2 shades. They are in a similar color family, kind of that mauve rose kind of family, so you could certainly make them work together. And then this very gold highlight. I'm trying to see if it has glitter. It doesn't really, it might have the slightest bit of glimmer. I'm gonna let you see it here. But I don't see bits of glitter on my cheek, for example, when I use it. So today what I'm wearing, My face is just loaded with blush today, actually, because I was messing around with this again. And the reason for that is that the Pink Honey Pop, which I think is just a beautiful shade, just really takes a lot of effort for me to get it to show up on my skin tone. I think it's because it's a bit neutral leaning, and I have a really neutral skin tone, so sometimes neutral on neutral, it does not show up very well. It's a beautiful shade. I'm not sure it's the right shade for me. But black, so I had that on, and then I'm like, I'm gonna add black honey. So I put black honey over the top, and black honey shows up very nicely on my skin tone. And in fact, I used, because I mentioned not using a fluffy brush, which is what I would typically use, you know, for blush. I typically use like an e.l.f. Blush brush or whatever. But in this case, I used the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, which is a little more dense. You could use it, for example, for a liquid foundation. That works pretty well, kind of really getting into the pan and getting some product on here. So anyway, I have the pink honey on, but then I topped it off with the black honey. And I have the highlighter on, but I've wiped a lot of it away, and there's a reason for that. So this is what I wanted to talk about again, Gold Celebration Pop. I have only seen this shade one other time. I'm not saying they've only released it once, but I'm only aware of once. And it was in a very limited edition release at the beginning of this year, and it was the Cheek Pop highlighter for, you know, we'll say the year of the rat, right? Chinese New Year, or however you want to refer to that, Lunar New Year. And that's what this looked like. It had a little, it's adorable, it has a little rat in there. I did not review this on my channel because it was really, really difficult to come by. I was fortunate, I happen to have a friend in Canada who gifted this to me, very sweet. But I haven't talked about it because I don't like to talk about things that, you know, you can't get, and I never found a dupe for it or anything like that. In any case, the reason I bring this up is that this shade is called Gold Celebration Pop, the exact same name as the one in the holiday release this year, which genuinely surprised me. I didn't know that they would re-release this. So I want to swatch this next to the Gold Celebration Pop from the holiday release here. And we're going to take a look. I've already compared them, but I want to show you the comparison. They do shift a little bit depending on the lighting. And one of the reasons I bring this up is that so few people were able to get that highlighter, and I know a lot of people wanted it. Now, admittedly, they liked the embossing in it, I think, in the packaging. But if you liked the color, and we're hoping to get that color, this has the exact same name. So this is the one from the palette. This is the individual one that they sold for Lunar New Year. I feel like they're very, very close. I do feel like the original from the beginning of this year has maybe just the slightest bit more, it's not even rose, that's not appropriate. I think this one has maybe just a hair more yellow. They're very, very close. The formula is the same. Like when you swatch them, they feel identical. They give the exact same amount of color payoff. I think this one just has maybe the slightest bit of warmth to it. So maybe they're not identical. And I want you to see those again. So the reason I had taken off my highlighter was because I'm going to put one on one cheek and one on the other, and you can decide if you think they are, I'd say dupes, but they're from the same company with the same name. So I guess, you know, to me that's not really a dupe. It's just like, have they re-released the same shade? So on this side, I'm going to use the original, which came out, as I said, at the beginning of this year. And I use, again, a Real Techniques. Having a Real Techniques day. Real Techniques highlighter brush. And I'm just going to apply it here. This is the original, as I said, on this side. And I usually just kind of hit the cheekbone. I don't go too crazy with highlighter usually. And I might go right here to plump up my cheek just a hair. Speaking of hair, I should have pulled mine back, but so that's the original. And then I'm gonna wipe off my brush and go into the palette. We'll see what we think. So I'll go in here, try to dip in the same amount. That's always tricky. Kind of tuck my hair back here. Try to do a similar application. I think I could use a little more on this side. So this is from the palette. This is the one from Lunar New Year. So when I look at them in person, they look, to me, they look identical. I don't think there would be any way that those would look different on the cheek. And again, I don't think I applied them exactly identically. I think that's pretty tough to do. But if that's something that you have been interested in and you felt like you missed out on it, and you were particularly interested in this color, this is fantastic to me. This palette that they released this year, I think, is really smart, actually, to include that color. I have not seen that mentioned anywhere. Maybe they even mention it somewhere that they've brought back that color. I don't know. But I just happened to be comparing it to what I had, and I was like, wow, it's that same color. That is so cool. So you get, you know, 2 full-size blushes. Normally they'd be $26 a piece. You get a limited edition highlight, which you couldn't get your hands on until this came out again now for holiday. I think this is well worth $29.50. You know, for me, this color, I really kind of have to pack it on to see it, but I think that's specific to the neutral nature of my undertone, so it might be something you want to consider. This is a beautiful shade, this Black Honey Pop. And truthfully, if you're thinking you're going to buy one of, like, Black Honey Pop, for example, individually, I would spend the $3.50 more and buy the whole palette, because then you get the highlighter, and you can certainly try this if you like it or not. But I really think Clinique did a nice job this year. I've seen them over the years, and I haven't always liked their color choices or whatever, but I think this is really cohesive. I think it's beautiful to look at, frankly. And I do like this highlighter quite a bit. I think it's very pretty. I'm very happy that they brought this back. So overall, I just think this was a really good holiday release from Clinique. I'm very happy with it. I'm happy that I got it, and I really recommend it, particularly if you like the Cheek Pop formula and you just, you know, you enjoy that formula, the baked texture and buffing it onto your skin and that kind of thing. I think this is a great little find, and I think the price is absolutely right. So I recommend it, obviously, and I hope that was helpful. That is always my only purpose here. I hope you are at peace today, and I'll talk to you soon.